Good day, everyone. This is Jenny's Fashion Channel. Thanks to all my amazing fans and subscribers. This channel is all about leveling up on your fashion designing skill. And today, I'm going to teach you how to cut a full-neck corset with a cut-together sleeve. So if it is what you are all about, you are definitely at the right place. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, now will be a very good time for you to smash on the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a new video. Without further ado, let's jump right in, shall we? The first thing is to draw a line as my baseline. Then I'm going to get my neck weight, and I'm using 3 inches for my neck weight. I will mark it. The next thing is to take my shoulder measurement, divide by 2. I will mark it here. Then I'm going to come down by 1 inch from the shoulder point for the shoulder slope. I will mark it and I'm going to connect it to the neck weight. Then the next thing is to get my armhole depth. And for me to get my armhole depth, I'm going to take my bust measurement, divide by 6 plus 1.5 inches. I will mark it here and I'm going to connect like those. Then I'm going to draw a horizontal line from those points as my chest line. Then I will go ahead and get my vertical measurement. So I will come down by 10 inches for my bust line. I will come down by 13.5 inches for the under bust line. I will come down by 17 inches for the waistline. And I'm going to add half an inch for joining allowance. I'm going to draw the lines. Then the next thing is to get my bust span. So I'm going to take my nipple to nipple measurement, divide by 2. Mine will give me 3.5 inches. I will mark it on the bust line and I'm going to connect it straight down to the joining allowance line. Then the next thing is to get my under bust dart. So I'm going to go in by 1 inch and go out by 1.5 inches. Then from the bust point, I'm going to come down by half an inch. I will mark it and I'm going to connect it to the under bust dart. Then I'm going to connect the under bust dart straight down to the joining allowance line. Then I will go ahead and get the midpoint of this my shoulder line. I will mark it and I'm going to connect it to the bust point like those. Then the next thing is to get where the over bust dart will fall. So I'm going to come down from the shoulder line by 6 inches. I will mark it and I'm going to draw the line. Then I'm going to go in by 1 inch and go out by 1.25 inches. Then I'm going to connect it to the bust point like so. Then I will go ahead and extend this first leg of the dart with half an inch because I noticed that the second leg of the dart is usually higher. So I'm going to extend the first leg of the dart with half an inch and I'm going to connect it back to this line like so. Then I'm going to take my bust measurement, divide by 4. I'm going to replace this dart intake here. Then I'm going to mark it on the chest line and I'm going to connect the second leg of the dart to it like so. Then I will go ahead and take my horizontal measurement on the bust line. I'm going to take my bust measurement, divide by 4. I will mark it. On the under bust line, I'm going to take my under bust measurement, divide by 4. I'm going to replace this dart intake here. I will mark it. On the waistline, I'm going to take my waist measurement, divide by 4. I will replace this dart intake here. I will mark it and mark the same thing on the joining allowance line. Then I will go ahead and connect my markings. I want you to know that the front waistline and the back waistline are always different, okay? My for the front part is 17 inches. Then on the back part, my waistline falls on 15.5 inches. So the difference is 1.5 inches. So I'm going to come down from this my bust point by 1.5 inches, okay? I will mark it and I'm going to connect it to the bust line, okay? so that when we close it up, if you are joining it to the back part, the waistline or the back part and the front part will align. Are we good? Now, if you look at this dress well, you will see that the funnel part has an asymmetric neckline, one with a cut together sleeve. So I'm going to open up this my pattern paper and I will go ahead and replicate what I have here on the other side. I am replicating exactly what I did on the other side on those parts, okay? So the next thing is to go ahead and close up my balls dart. And for me to do that, I'm going to cut open the midpoint of it as you can see me do. You are going to cut it in such a way that is not going to cut off entirely, okay? Then on the shoulder dart, I will also open it up, okay, in order to close the balls dart, okay, as you can see me do. Then I will go ahead and close it, okay, like so. Then I will go ahead and reconnect my chest measurement point to this line, okay? Because after closing the balls dart, you'll find out that the lines have adjusted. So I will go ahead and reconnect. Then I will do the same thing on the other side. So the next thing is to snatch my waist. So I'm going to get the midpoint of this my waistline, okay? You can see where I place my tape. I will get the midpoint. I will mark it and I'm going to connect it straight up, okay? You can make it a bit slanty, okay? It depends on you, okay? It depends on the kind of curve that you want it to have. Then from this point, I'm going to go in by 1/4 of an inch and I will go out by 1/4 of an inch. Then I'm going to connect like so. Then I will do the same thing on the other side, okay? Now, at this point, I am done drafting the two part of the cloth, okay? The two part is the one that is inside the funnel bustier, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and work on the funnel parts. So I will go ahead and get the midpoint of my dress, okay? And this is the midpoint of the dress. You can see where I place my tape. So from that point, I'm going to go down by 1 inch. I will mark it and I'm going to connect it to the armhole curve, okay, as you can see me do. Then I will go over to the part that has sleeve, okay. For the cut together sleeve, I'm going to come down from this point by 3 inches. Though this purely depends on you, it depends on where you want the sleeve to start, okay? You can come down by 2 inches, you can come down by 4 inches. Me, I'm using 3 inches, okay? I will mark it. Then I'm going to connect it to the second leg of the dart, okay? Then for the length of the sleeve, I am using 18 inches. If you watch this dress well, you will notice that the front part of the sleeve is being connected to the back part of the dress, okay? So I'm using 18 inches for the length of my sleeve. You can use 16 inches, you can use 20 inches. It depends on how free or how tight you want it, okay? Then from this point, I'm going to go out by 18 inches. I will mark it. Then the next thing is to get the width of the sleeve, okay? It depends on how bold you want it. Me, I'm using 3 inches for the width of the sleeve, okay? So I'm going to go down from this point by 3 inches. I will mark it and I'm going to connect like so. Then from this my chest line, I'm going to go in by 1.5 inches. I will mark it. Then I'm going to connect this point to it like so. Getting to this point, I will make it a bit curvy. Then I will go ahead and replace the dart intake, okay? I have here the dart intake I used to snatch the waist, okay? So I'm going to replace it on the bust line. On the bust line, I have 0.2 inch, okay? I'm going to replace the one I took on the under bust line. Then on the waistline, I'm not going to replace it because I want the waist snatched, okay? I'm going to mark and I'm going to connect this way. And I will add 2 inches joining allowance on the chest line, on the bust line, under bust line, and waistline. And I will connect my markings to serve as a guide for cutting. And I will go ahead and do the same thing on the other parts. Then I will connect this point to this point like so. Before I finish up the funnel part, I want to go ahead and trace out the two parts because we are fully done with the two parts. So I'm going to fold this my pattern paper and I'm going to introduce a new pattern paper under, okay? The paper I place under is also unfold, and you are going to make sure that the two edges of the papers are lined properly, okay? Now, the part we are going to trace is just the two parts from the neckline of the tube to the underbust line. Just look at me closely so you will see the areas I am tracing, okay? Then I will go ahead and remove the paper on top, okay? And I will use my pen to make my tracing visible. So guys, that's it. Then I will go ahead and give it a nice shape, okay? At this point, though this probably depends on you, you can leave it this way. You can go ahead and give it a curved shape like so. Then I will go ahead and cut. So guys, this is it for the two parts. We'll now continue with the funnel part. Then on the sleeve, I'm going to get the midpoint of the sleeve. I will mark it and I'm going to connect it like so, okay? I will connect this point to the dart we use to snatch the waist. This is to help us to cut through the dart we use for waist snatching, okay? So guys, that's it. You can see how perfect it looks already. I will now go ahead and cut. Please follow me closely. Let's cut. Now, at this point, I'm going to place this part, okay, on this, okay, to ensure that the line I have here aligns properly, okay. Now, if I place it, you notice that the line we drew initially have adjusted because I have cut off the first dart, the first leg of the dart, okay. So I will go ahead and reconnect the line, okay, so that it's going to align perfectly. So guys, this is it, okay? Please, if you are cutting this, do not be in a haste to cut, okay? So you are not going to damage your cloth, okay? Just take it patiently and you'll get it right. So guys, that's it. You can see how perfect it came out. If you place the tube under it, okay, this is how it's going to come out. You can see how perfect it is. We're now moving to the back panel. The first thing is to draw a line as my baseline. Then I'm going to take out 1.5 inches from my zipper. I'm going to draw the line. Then I will go ahead and take my vertical measurement. The back part is starting from the chest line, okay? And my chest line is on 7 inches, okay? So I'm going to use this my baseline as my chest line. Then I'm going to come down for my bust line, taking 7 inches off. And I'm going to come down by 15.5 inches for my waistline. And I'm going to add half an inch for joining allowance. Then I'm going to draw the lines. Then I'm going to go ahead and get my bust span. So I'm going to take my nipple to nipple measurement divide by 2. I will mark it on the bust line and I'm going to connect it straight down to the joining allowance line. Then the next thing is to get my dart. So from this point, I'm going to go in by half an inch and go out by half an inch to form a dart. Then I'm going to extend this my bust point with 1 inch, okay? And I'm going to connect like so. Then I will go ahead and take my horizontal measurement on the chest line. I'm going to take my bust measurement divide by 4. I will mark it on the chest line and mark the same thing on the bust line. On the waistline, I'm going to take my waist measurement divide by 4. I'm going to replace this dart intake here. I will mark it and mark the same thing on the joining allowance line. Then I will connect my marking. Then on this my waistline, I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch. This is to remove any form of bulginess on the waist area. I'm going to connect it like so. Then I will go ahead and snide the waist just the same way I did on the front part. So I'm going to get the midpoint of this my waistline, okay? I will mark it and I'm going to connect it straight up and down. Then I'm going to go in by 1/4 inch and go out by 1/4 inch, okay? To form a dart. Then I'm going to connect like so. Then I will go ahead and add 2 inch joining allowance on the chest line, on the bust line, on the waistline, and joining allowance line. And I'm going to connect my markings to serve as a guide for cutting. Then I will go ahead and add my zipper allowance, okay? On the waistline, I will start taking the zipper allowance from the 1/2 inch I went in with, okay? And I'm going to carry on like so, following the same curve, and I will connect my markings. Then I will go ahead and give my back part a bit slant curve, okay? Though it purely depends on you. You can leave it those way, okay? Without any curve, okay? So guys, I will now go ahead and cut. So guys, that's it for the back panel.